So let's get into this Joe Budden situation and Drake. So Drake has a new album. All right. For those that don't know, for all the dogs that people had mixed feelings about. The reviews for this album have been mixed. And I talked a little bit about this in a previous video about Drake. And this time, Drake is clapping back at Joe Budden. So Cardi B recently clapped back at Joe Budden, even though Joe Budden, according to what a lot of you have said, has really celebrated and loved Cardi B. So the one criticism he had about her, she went on, I think it was Spaces or somewhere, and complained about him judging her. And then she was upset that he had Tasha K on his podcast. However, that interview never aired. He decided not to air the interview, and that he received backlash for that. All right. So now, oh, Joe, poor Joe. For those that don't know who Joe Budden is, he was on Love and Hip Hop, but before all of that, he was also a rapper. All right. And a lot of people respect him as a rapper. So a lot of people also respect his opinion on other rappers and their music. So Drake was not here for what he said about the project, even though apparently Joe Budden is a fan of Drake. He just didn't feel as if Drake's new work is the same, or at least on the same level as his past work. Okay? So Drake was in his feelings, because already Drake was in his feelings when Charlemagne the God had thoughts on his song. What was that? Slime Me? I don't remember what it's called. The song with SZA. So Charlemagne said that he didn't really like the song. And Drake decided to shade Charlemagne. Y'all could learn a thing or two from Beyonce. Drake is on that level. Like, Drake is on a level in hip hop and in pop culture and pop music that is up there, but he doesn't conduct himself that way. He gets in his feelings, but he's also a Scorpio. He's a water sign, so they're emotional. All right. Now y'all saying "Pump It Up." That's Joe Budden's song. All right. He had that one hit wonder. So Drake decided to clap back at Joe Budden for criticizing this new album. All right. So he said this in a long post. All right. So he asked Joe Budden and says, "You have failed at music. You left it behind to do what you're doing in this clip, because this is what actually pays your bills. For any artist watching this, just remember you are watching a failure give their opinion on his idea of a recipe for success. A quitter give their opinion on how to achieve longevity. You switched careers because the things that pop into your brain had you broke, living check to check." Damn. "And the raps you write had 450 men showing up to your shows in dusty Eniche jeans to screw up their face to Mood Music 29 and pretend you are the GOAT. Please go to any artist that's doing what they feel is right. Don't let these opinions affect your mindset after the fact. This guy is the poster child of frustration and surrendering. You retired and we never hung up your jersey. We don't even remember your number. We know you for doing this. You withdrew from rap not because you accomplished all you need to. It's because it wasn't working for you. I never want anybody in the generations to think that the whole everybody's entitled to their opinions is a real thing." Wait, really? Okay. "This man is projecting his own self-hate and the fact that I did continue to do everything he wanted to do for himself, that he wanted to do for himself. If you need it, put it in simpler terms. I own 767. He owns a modest house in the 973 and flies first class on special occasions."
Do you want me to bring the receipts? Do I need to bring the receipts, baby girl? Because I got receipts.
Damn. Okay. All right, Drake. Drake was in his feelings when he wrote this. All right. So as you can see at the bottom, Joe Budden responds to Drake. He says, "You'll grow up sooner or later. Father Time is undefeated." Damn. Like, really? Okay, so here's my thoughts on this situation because some of you hit me up because you wanted me to weigh in because I had recently weighed in on Drake in this new album, Shaded Rihanna, talking about how her sex wasn't that great and that he's had battered chicks. And I was like, Drake, let the obsession go with Rihanna. All right? Let the obsession go. So Drake has really been in his feelings these last couple of weeks. He went against Charlemagne. He released that single cover with Halle Berry on the cover, even though he had talked to her and she said, I don't want you to use it. He still used it anyway. We also had Rai, who he used her voice on his new album as well. It's not the first time he's done that. So she blasted him on social media for using her voice without crediting her. Drake is whack, you know. Makia, yes, I did see that. I'm not giving Drake's father no more light. Drake's father is weighing in on this situation too. It's a mess. It's a whole mess. I just wanted to weigh in on what initiated this fight. What initiated this fight between Drake and Joe Budden was the fact that Joe Budden did not like this new project, and Drake was not happy about it and said, you failed at music. I also saw that Ebro from Hot 97 weighed in and says, well, here's the thing. Joe Budden didn't fail at music. This is what Ebro said. He decided to leave the music industry because he didn't want to play that game. I mean, you can say that. You can say that. And I'm not saying that Joe is not talented, is not a talented rapper, but I'm not a hip hop head. So I don't get into these hip hop fights. However, I mean, I think there's some truth to what Drake is saying too. But I also agree with Joe Budden in regards to this particular project. I only listened to a few of the songs. But I do, on some level, think that Joe Budden might be a little jealous, just a little bit, of the career that Drake has been able to cultivate. But I also think that Drake should take a break. He did say he was going to take a break to take care of his health, like a year. But I feel like he should have done what Beyonce has done. He should have been taking breaks a long time ago. I think he's saturated the market so much that sometimes people just don't want to listen to him anymore. And also, I think the creativity is changed too when you're constantly putting out music. I think he should take a couple of years off. Damn it, take 4 years off. Go live your life. You don't have to work. I understand you want to be creative. You can continue to be creative and not put out music. But I do think on some level, what he said about Joe is true. I do think on some level it is true. Although people will say that they respect Joe Budden as a rap artist. But I think if Joe really still, especially in this day and age, wanted to put out music, he could put out music. But he has chosen not to. He's decided to just comment on other artists and their music. You don't have to play the game, especially in this day and age. You don't have to play the game. What I would like to see, instead of all this social media back and forth between Drake and Joe, I'd like to see them take it to the studio. Release that diss track. Joe, remind him who you are. Remind him who you are. I don't want to see all this back and forth on podcasts and on social media. You're both rap artists. Take it to the studio. Take it to the studio and let's see who's the real talent. I want to see it. Anyone else? Because on some level, Joe, I do think there's some truth to it that you not only left the industry because of the music industry is very challenging. It's if you are an artist in today's age putting out music, God bless you. Because there's not a lot of money in it. It's more about you're passionate about the music. All right? So I get why he might retire and leave the music industry and he's made more success being a talking head. But I think if he had more hits, he probably would have continued doing music. I think that Joe Budden would have continued if he had more success outside of you know what I mean? I think so. But if y'all gonna fight, let's fight on in the studio. Joe, go into the studio. Go write a rhyme. Drake, then respond. Drake, you really shouldn't respond at this point. Ooh, Nash says Drake only has energy for people who really aren't about that street life, like Charlemagne, like Rihanna, like Halle Berry, and now Joe Budden.
You bring the lighter, I got the fuse. You make a fire, I'll ask you. Follow my lady, just watch your shoes. Gotta turn the heat up to get this cool.